Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Sometimes the person who loves you the deepest is the one who keeps the most distance. And you sit there confused, asking yourself why someone who feels so much hides so much. But the truth is, not everybody loves in a straight line. Some folks love in circles, in pauses, in spaces where they don't even know how to explain what's going on inside them. They love you, but they're afraid of being seen, afraid that if you look too close, you'll notice their cracks, their insecurities, their past that still whispers to them that they're not enough. When someone loves you deeply but stays distant, most people jump to the wrong conclusion. They think, if you loved me, you'd show it. If you cared, you'd be here, present. But life doesn't work that neatly, and neither do people. Distance isn't always a sign of disinterest. Sometimes it's a shield, a defense, quiet confession of fear. When a person feels something intense, something powerful, something that shakes them down to their core, they don't always rush toward it. Some run, some freeze, some step back because the feeling itself is overwhelming. It's not because they don't love you, it's because they don't know how to handle the depth of what they feel. You have to understand that deep love is not light, it's not soft, it's heavy. It carries responsibility, vulnerability, and emotional exposure. When someone looks at you and sees a person who matters, a person who could break them or heal them or change their whole world, that level of significance scares them. They start asking themselves questions they've never asked. Am I enough for this person? Can I meet their expectations? What if I fail? What if I disappoint them? When someone loves you deeply, the anxiety of losing you becomes louder than the comfort of being close to you. They distance themselves as a way to not mess up, not say the wrong thing, not show their imperfections too early. They love hard, but they fear harder. People who distance themselves in deep love are often people who have never been loved safely before. They come from experiences where closeness always led to heartbreak, where vulnerability was punished, where giving too much meant losing themselves. So when they feel that intense love again, it triggers every emotional memory they've ever tried to forget. They tell themselves they're not ready, not worthy, not capable. They convince themselves you deserve better, even when you're standing right there, wanting nothing but their presence. These people think distance protects you, protects themselves, protects the fragile possibility of something real. And sometimes the distance is not even intentional, it's instinct. Some individuals have spent so long pushing people away that they don't know how to pull someone in. Loving deeply activates the alarm system inside them. They're not trying to escape you, they're trying to survive the storm inside themselves. Their heart is speaking a language they never learned before, and it feels unfamiliar, risky, and uncontrollable. When someone loves you deeply, they are more afraid of hurting you than they are of losing you. That fear alone makes them step back so they can figure out how to step forward without breaking anything in the process. The surprising truth is, people only distance themselves from what truly matters to them. Nobody runs from something meaningless. Nobody fears something that has no power. Distance in deep love is often the biggest sign that the love is real. It means you touched a place inside them that they didn't know how to open. It means you awaken feelings they didn't expect. It means you matter more than they know how to express. Distance often comes from past wounds that never healed, and people don't always admit how much their history controls their heart. When someone steps back from you despite caring deeply, it's rarely about what you did. It's about the battles they're still fighting inside. Everybody carries emotional scars, but the ones that hurt the most are the ones nobody sees. These wounds shape a person's reactions, their fears, their trust issues, their way of loving. You might think they're avoiding you, when in reality they're avoiding the parts of themselves they haven't learned to face. Sometimes distance is their way of saying, I'm not ready to be the person you deserve, and I don't know how to fix myself without breaking down. People who've been hurt deeply in the past often try to prevent history from repeating itself. Maybe they loved someone who betrayed them. Maybe they trusted someone who took advantage of their softness. Maybe they gave everything to someone who didn't value them. That kind of pain doesn't disappear easily. It stays in the memory like a warning siren. Every time they feel something real with you, those old wounds start screaming, don't do this again. Don't open up. Don't get vulnerable. Instead of stepping closer, they pull back because love feels like a risk they're not sure they can survive twice. Their heart remembers everything their mind tries to forget. There are people who walk around every day pretending they're fine, pretending the past didn't change them, pretending they're strong and unbothered, but deep down, terrified of letting anyone get too close because they don't want to experience hurt all over again. So they build walls, keep space, stay distant even from the ones they love, not because they don't want connection, but because connection makes them feel exposed. When someone loves you but keeps their distance, it often means they're fighting the ghosts of their past more than they're resisting you. You're not the problem, their unhealed wounds are. The truth is, healing doesn't happen just because someone new enters their life. Healing is a journey, slow and unpredictable. You can care for them, love them, support them, but you can't erase the impact of the people who came before you. Some wounds run so deep that they affect every relationship after them. Person who distances themselves might look calm on the outside, but inside they're wrestling with insecurities, memories, fears, and emotional triggers they don't want you to see. They're scared that if they get too close, you'll discover how broken they feel. They're scared that their past will ruin their present, that they'll disappoint you, or that you'll walk away once you understand them fully. Distance becomes their survival strategy. It's not healthy, it's not fair, but it's real. It's how they learn to protect their heart when life taught them love could hurt. The deeper their feelings for you, the harder it becomes for them to ignore those old wounds. They're not trying to push you away. They're struggling to keep themselves together. And sometimes the space they create is simply the echo of pain they never had the chance to heal. Some people love you quietly because they don't know how to love loudly, and that quiet love can confuse you if you're looking for the kind of affection that's bold, expressive, and obvious. Not everybody grew up in an environment where emotions were spoken openly. Not everybody learned how to say, I love you, I miss you, or I need you. Some people learn to keep their feelings tucked inside, guarded and hidden, because that was the only way they knew how to protect themselves. When someone loves quietly, it doesn't mean the love is weak. It often means the love is so deep and so real that they're scared to mishandle it. Their silence isn't emptiness. Their silence is caution. Quiet lovers feel everything intensely but express it in ways that aren't always easy to read. They check on you without making it obvious. They notice the things you like. They remember the small details you think they forgot. They look at you when you're not paying attention. They show care through actions instead of words because words feel risky to them. They were never taught how to be emotionally fluent, so they stay in the background, giving their love in small, subtle gestures that mean more than they can articulate. When these people keep their distance, it's not because they're disconnected, it's because they're overwhelmed by what they feel and unsure of how to show it. without exposing their vulnerability. People who love quietly often fear being misunderstood. They worry that if they express too much, too fast, it will push you away. They think their emotions are too heavy or too intense, so they hold them back instead of letting them flow naturally. They second guess every message, every call, every moment of affection because they don't want to come across as needy or clingy or overly attached. They've been judged before for caring too deeply, so now they ration their feelings carefully, giving just enough to stay present but not enough to feel completely exposed. They live in that delicate balance between wanting to show their heart and wanting to protect it. Sometimes quiet love comes from a person who has spent their whole life being the strong one, the tough one, the one who never crumbled. They don't know how to let someone see their softness, so they love from the shadows. They struggle to express affection because they've conditioned themselves to hide their emotions. Loving loudly requires a level of emotional courage they haven't developed yet. So instead of stepping forward confidently, they step carefully, slowly, hoping you'll understand their heart without demanding too much of their voice. And the thing about quiet lovers is that even when they keep their distance, their loyalty never wavers. They might not say much, but they feel deeply. They might not show up with dramatic gestures, but they show up in the ways they can. They love quietly because that's the only love they've ever known, not because their love is any less powerful. In their silence, there is sincerity. In their distance, there is depth. In their subtlety, there is a heart that cares more than words could ever express. Deep love makes some people feel unworthy, so they pull back in ways that leave you confused and questioning everything. You might look at this person and see strength, confidence, charm, or capability, but inside they're carrying doubts they've never spoken aloud. When someone feels unworthy of love, especially the kind of love that is sincere, patient, and genuine, their first instinct is not to step toward it, but to step away. They don't trust the goodness that's in front of them because they have never seen love stay. They have only seen it fade, break, or disappear. So when something real finally shows up, it feels almost unbelievable, like a blessing they don't know how to hold. People who feel unworthy of deep love often grew up carrying emotional burdens that made them question their value. Maybe they were dismissed, overlooked, constantly told they weren't enough. Maybe they loved someone in the past who made them feel like they had to earn affection or compete for attention. Those experiences stick with a person. They shape the way they see themselves. They shape the way they react to love. When love feels too pure or too powerful, they panic internally. They start thinking, why would someone like you care about someone like me? That doubt becomes a wall that pushes them backward, even when their heart wants to move forward. This unworthiness doesn't come from arrogance or selfishness. It comes from insecurity. It comes from comparing themselves to people you've known before, to standards they think they can't meet, to expectations they assume they'll fail. They believe you deserve more than what they can give. They believe their flaws will disappoint you. They believe their imperfections make them unlovable. So instead of risking rejection, they choose distance. They choose silence. They choose space. It's not because they don't love you. It's because they're terrified that if you get too close, you'll see them the way they see themselves, and they don't want to lose you because of their own fears. When someone pulls back out of unworthiness, they aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying to protect themselves from pain they assume is coming. They think stepping away first will soften the blow. They think avoiding closeness will prevent heartbreak. They convince themselves that disappearing a little is easier than being rejected entirely. what they don't realize is that their distance hurts just as much as the heartbreak they're afraid of. You see their potential, their goodness, their heart, but they only see their weaknesses. They don't understand that deep love doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty, consistency, and effort. But when someone feels unworthy, they can't even imagine being chosen fully, so they don't allow themselves to be. And the deeper their love for you becomes, the stronger their fear grows. Love makes them feel exposed, and exposure makes them feel fragile. They're afraid of giving you something imperfect. They're afraid of failing you. They're afraid of being seen too clearly. So they step back, not because they don't feel enough, but because they feel too much. They pull away because the intensity of what they feel makes them question everything about who they are. Deep down, they hope you'll see past their fear, but they're convinced you'll eventually walk away once you discover the parts of themselves they try so hard to hide. Distance can be a protection mechanism, not rejection, and people often misunderstand that. When someone steps back, the immediate assumption is that they're losing interest or that their feelings are fading. But sometimes the distance has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's happening inside them. Some people retreat not because they want to leave you, because they're terrified of losing you. They believe that keeping space gives them control over their emotions, over the pace, over the fear that love might consume them too quickly. They think protecting their heart is safer than opening it fully, even though the opening is exactly what their soul wants. There are individuals who have learned through experience that love can hurt, love can disappoint, and love can destroy parts of you that take years to rebuild. So they become cautious, they become careful, they become guarded. Their distance is a shield, a way to make sure they don't get too attached too fast. They're trying to measure their steps, trying to slow down the speed of their emotions, trying to make sure they're not walking into something that might break them again. It's not that they don't feel deeply. They feel too deeply. They step back because the intensity scares them, not because the feelings aren't real. Sometimes people distance themselves because they know once they get close to you, the connection will be powerful, maybe even life-changing. And life-changing feels dangerous when your heart has been through storms. They're afraid that giving in completely will leave them vulnerable, exposed, dependent. They fear needing someone too much because needing someone means losing control. When they distance themselves, they're trying to protect not just their heart, but their identity, their independence, their emotional stability. They fear becoming emotionally anchored to you in a way they can't undo, so they keep a safe space to breathe, to analyze, to reassure themselves that this love is safe. Distance can also be their way of processing feelings they don't know how to handle yet. Some people react to strong emotion by withdrawing, reflecting, thinking, overthinking, and trying to understand themselves before they come back to you. They don't want to bring confusion into the connection. They want clarity. They want stability. They want to be sure that what they're offering is genuine and sustainable. So they step away temporarily, believing that the space will help them return stronger, more certain, more secure. The problem is, to you it feels like rejection, to them it feels like preparation. And there are people who believe that keeping distance protects you too. They think if they stay too close, their flaws might hurt you, their issues might weigh you down, their fears might create unnecessary complications. They distance themselves because they want to shield you from the battles they're fighting internally. They think stepping back is a responsible thing, considerate thing, even though you may see it as abandonment. They don't realize that what you truly want is honesty, not perfection. They assume their struggles make them unworthy of closeness, so they create space to prevent disappointing you. The truth is, distance isn't always a sign of fading love. Sometimes it's a sign of love trying to protect itself in the only way it knows how. True love eventually reveals itself through consistent effort, not perfect behavior, and that's something people forget when they're dealing with someone who keeps their distance. Love doesn't always come wrapped in confidence or expressed in smooth, flawless actions. Sometimes love comes in hesitation, in slow steps, in quiet attempts to show up even when fear is holding them back. When a person truly loves you, even if they distance themselves, they will always find their way back in small, steady ways. They might not be loud about their feelings, but their consistency, no matter how subtle, becomes the clearest proof that their heart is invested. People who struggle with vulnerability or fear often mess up. They might pull away, act confused, or take longer than you expect to communicate what's going on inside them. But real love doesn't disappear just because someone is imperfect. It shows itself in the way they try, in the way they learn, in the way they adjust. When someone cares deeply, they can't walk away permanently. They may retreat temporarily to process their emotions or to deal with their insecurities, but they will always return with sincerity. Their actions, over time, reveal more truth than any words could. You'll notice their effort in the way they check, in even when they're unsure, in the way they circle back to you even after they distance themselves, in the way they keep choosing you quietly again and again. Consistency looks different for everyone. Some people show it through small gestures, like remembering things you said weeks ago or making